Well, this frame here is also going to be the frame in 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, possibly. She was up there forever, which means once again, somebody is waiting, but at least the production team didn't shoot the person waiting for 5 or 6 seconds. So right there, I'm just feeling like she's trying to figure out, I guess that's 2 seconds, but it felt like forever. I think actually I counted how many seconds it was when I watched the highlights before we were going to do this one wrong. It was probably a good 5 seconds or so. But basically, when she goes to do the moonsault and land, Jade Cargill gets out of the way. Now, we've talked about this before. Now, you can blow your knees out doing anything in pro wrestling. But this particular thing right here, where she lands just literally like that, which good for her because she ended up bending her knees. I think she has like a gymnastics background, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So she knows how to land, which I would think too that landing with your feet this close together could also roll your ankles. But then again, I've never done a moonsault. So when she comes down, I'm trying to look. Do they replay this at all? No.
No, I don't think so.
Because I'll tell you what happened was, first and foremost, you shouldn't be missing stuff like this. Jade Cargill is a pretty big girl. She can catch you. So you never want to try to miss this unless, by the way, if it's something to where you're going to say, we have an injury angle, we have something going on. I have to give her credit. I mean, it's a hell of a moonsault here. But I thought she like would blow her knees out. But what she did wasn't it didn't catch it. She probably, right before this, because of the roll, hit the back of her head on the mat. So she whiplashed. So instead of landing straight down, she rolled, and she did what people do when they first go into wrestling school. Instead of taking a flat back bump, tucking your chin, they try to take that bump on the lower back, roll, and it bites them in the back of the head. Yeah, when you're doing stuff like this, just have her catch you. Why people always, like Charlotte will have people miss, and it always looks like her knees, her feet, her ankles, and then she lands kind of the same way too. I think she just lost her balance. She was trying to tumble, and she ended up just taking like a very bad lower back bump, rolled, and hit her head. Oh, wait, wow. Her eyes kind of look like not rolled back, but it looks like she's kind of out on her feet right there. My question is, was she supposed to land on her feet and then they were going to do something? Because it looks like she's kind of shocked that like she ended up hitting her head.
Well, in the world of kayfabe, why would she do a moonsault to land on her feet anyway?
Well, it's true. Yeah, because like she knows then she's moving and she can land on her feet. Now, they followed this up with a spear through the barrier. So I'm not sure if she's out or just so aware, because what she does here is roll towards that barrier. So she's not completely knocked out. She's probably knocked silly. She got a concussion, but she's not out because she's heading to the next spot, which, by the way, the spear is not going to help your concussion. We don't know if, like, when she took that, her head had cleared the barrier. So she might have hit her head on this and then hit her head on the floor. The actual floor on the other side of the barrier. There's no mat there.
We should say presumed concussion. I don't think it's been released that she's got a concussion. But
I mean, I'm sorry. I thought it was news that she had a concussion.
I think it's presumed at this point, but she was pulled from, I believe, a 6-woman tag match on NXT this Tuesday, and she's been replaced, so she was not cleared to wrestle. So, generally speaking, I think WWE are more reluctant to release information if it's concussion-based. I've got a few follow-up questions here. Waiting 5 seconds on the top rope before doing a move, is that generally a sign of getting your position, or can that be a sign of overthinking things, and that's when stuff can go a bit wrong as well?
Well, the weird part about this thing, usually you're going to spend that much time up there if you're hitting the moonsault. Like if she's moving, all you got to do is look, see her, and you're landing on your feet. It's her job to get out of the way, move left to right. The weird thing about this is, I think she was trying to, here's a what would be cool. It's my guess though. She misses the moonsault. Just think about it. They call it in the back, but there's no rehearsal. I'm going to go up for the moonsault. You're going to move. I'm going to roll through, end up in front of the barrier, and you give me the spear, like all in one thing. But then again, you don't think I'm moving in this direction, but the barrier is all the way in this direction here. So that's just my guess would be they were trying, in theory, I'll do this, or I miss it, crawl over, and we do it, and you ended up rolling and hitting the back of your head. Now, my guess is, too, maybe this didn't do it. This might have jarred her, but maybe that spear through the barricade, that's what kind of gave her a concussion, because there's no, like I said before, this mat is not there where the ring announcer is and the timekeeper, which is that little alcove that's surrounded by the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think?
I want to ask you this. Do you think it's a heel slip? So basically her heels have slipped off the mat. I don't know how slick the mats are. I know they're very taut and don't have that much give, but do you think it's just that she tried to stick the landing and her feet slipped from under and that's why she whacked her head?
Well, she landed on her toes. My assumption is she was smart not to land on her heels because you could tear your Achilles tendons. I was thinking that she was landing, but her momentum, she was trying to tumble through and land on her feet. Or, I don't know. Or she was trying to land on her feet, stay on her feet, and then Jade could have picked her up and they both run through the barricade, which would have been pretty cool. If she landed on her feet, stood there, she got basically waist locked, and Jade drove them both through the barrier. That would have been a good visual. I think maybe her momentum took her over. But this is the mystery to me. Why you're trying to set as she's waiting only to move. But it's definitely a planned spot because Jade's already turning to watch her go to the corner with the barricade. This is like, why would you even do this? By the way, this was a really good match. They worked like two power wrestlers doing stuff. I don't agree with the apron bumps and doing all that weird stuff or posting her. There's no real blood feud with that, but they had a good physical match. This just didn't make any sense to me. If you're going to go to the barrier, why not just brawl, brawl, brawl? She can pick you up and drive you through, and there we are.
Tiffany does some very, very high-risk things. And I kind of think, once again, it goes to the overarching theme of the entire show. Why? Because if you do everything on, what was it, The Undertaker? I mean, how many dives did he do in his career? Like once a year? Maybe twice a year?
And they were mainly all a WrestleMania match. That's mainly all he did. And he still almost landed straight on his head when Snooker's kid didn't catch him. I had the camera and the production stuff.
So why risk it every single week? Because this seems to have a very much high failure rate. And Tiffany's got hurt before on these dives.
I think it's more than just, what would be cool? I think TKO and WWE at this point in their existence, and it's always been there, by the way, especially after WrestleMania, because that's when the releases come. It feels like all the talent at this level, and especially the girls, it feels like tryouts to impress the office. Do you ever feel that way? Like we're going to go out there and impress the office and they're going to pay us more, or we're going to get more opportunity. It feels like they're trying to impress somebody that, quite frankly, half the time, I bet you, like Triple H might be watching them, but there's people that are too busy to watch all the matches.
Yeah, I think so. I also think it's because there are so few wrestling matches they have these days. They feel they can put bigger, do more risky stuff every match. And I think that's borne out with just how high an injury rate there is at the moment as well in both companies.
Isn't it funny that when everybody was working 4 or 5 days a week and working 2 TV tapings, say a Friday house show, Saturday, Sunday, Monday Raw, Tuesday SmackDown, there was actually less injuries than when people work more. Because you know what? When you leave on Friday, you're like, I got to work. I still have 2 TVs to work. I got to be careful. I'm going to work hard, but we're not going to do anything stupid. And there's no TV cameras. Why should we do anything? Then on Monday, it was still, we're working, but we got to work tomorrow and I got to work next week. I'm booked on the house. Do you see the difference in the thought process? Whereas with this, every week to them might feel like a pay-per-view or WrestleMania. We got to get our stuff in because I might not be booked next week. Or I got an entire week to recover. That's the kiss of death. I got 5 days to recover, so let me just put it all on the line. That's not being a worker. Being a worker, and I talked about it before for bad reasons, by the way, James, you're taught to be as lazy as possible when you're a professional wrestler, to do the least amount of stuff, still work hard, the least amount to hurt yourself, and make the most amount of money. That's why talents who retire or get out of the business are in trouble, because they've been conditioned to make money by being lazy. So they have a great future after wrestling.